Hello and welcome to our conversation today with Hüseyin Tabak and Alina Serbanon, moderated by Sean Nam. My name is Grant Amon and I'm the director of the Goethe Pop Up Houston. We're a temporary branch of the Goethe Institute, which is the cultural institute of the Federal Republic of Germany. Our goal is to present contemporary German art and culture in Houston and help shape a current understanding of Germany today. Today's event is in partnership with the Houston Cinema Arts Society and Museum of Fine Arts Houston Virtual Cinema, as well as the Houston International Sports Film Festival. This event is part of a longer series of selections from Kino Germany Now 2021, Discover New Talent, which is presented by the German Film Office, an initiative of the Goethe Institute in German Films. Today's conversation will center around Hüseyin Tabak's film Gypsy Queen, which I'll now hand over to Josh Merwin from the Houston International Sports Film Festival, who will introduce our next guests. Thank you very much, Josh.
Thanks, Grant. Hi, I'm Josh Merwin. I'm the founder of the Houston International Sports Film Festival. We're coming to Houston June 3rd through 6th of 2021, so we're only a few weeks away. Very excited to be the first major sports film festival in the U.S. We've got a great lineup of films, and we're excited to present Gypsy Queen as well now. So check us out, hisff.org, and I'm going to introduce Jessica Green, who's the artistic director of the Houston Cinema Arts Society. Take it away, Jess.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. You are in for a treat, audience. This is going to be an incredible conversation following this amazing, beautiful film, Gypsy Queen. And I am going to turn it over to the wonderful Sean Nam, who is a writer and a writer with expertise in the area of boxing and film, which is really exciting. And Sean also has a book coming out, a true crime story about a murdered boxer is set to come out next year. So you're in for a treat. I'm going to hand it over to Sean, and he's going to be moderating this conversation with this amazing director and leading lady. Sean, please take it over. Thanks.
Thanks, Jessica. Good to meet you guys. And first of all, I just want to say congratulations to the director, Hüseyin Tabak, and of course, the leading lady, Alina Serbanon. Congratulations on what I thought was a very gritty and still evocative and tender film that touches on so many disparate topics, themes and issues that are both timeless and also incredibly contemporary at the same time. Thought I would start with you, Hüseyin. What motivated you to write and pursue this story? I understand you both, you also wrote the story at the same time. And how did you come to decide to wrap all of these elements within the boxing film vehicle, so to speak?
First of all, thank you for having us here with our movie. It's a really pleasure, and I'm really happy that in the time of the pandemic we still can talk to audience, like not directly, but still, show our work and talk about art and stories, so we can still kind of can connect to each other. So thank you for that. Well, for me as an author and a filmmaker, it always takes a time to write a screenplay. And this screenplay was a kind of very, very long time in my head before I wrote the first word. So usually it takes from 1 day till 3 years, I or 4 or 5. But, I feel it somehow when it really is in my head and I want to write and I write it. The really first idea was about a man who's like going to boxing and he gets money for being a sparring, that he gets beaten up and he tries to make his way out of there. But it wasn't really a story. It was just a like image, but it was. So, and then those times I had a lot of, I made some movies with male actors and I was asking myself, because I had so many strong women around me, well, what kind of stories can I tell about women? And I took my own mother as, how you say, I look up to her and said, okay, actually I had to make a movie about a mother. And then somewhere in my head was still the story of this man who's getting beaten up for money. So I was saying, well, wow, that's a really strong story, and I was thinking about it, but it still didn't go that far that I wrote the first word. And then that was the time I was listening to a lot of Roma music when I was running and I don't know, doing stuff. And, I was always this Roma music from different groups was in my head. And then I was like running again. And I had this idea of the mother of who was fighting for the kid. And then when I was listening to the Roma music, I knew, wow, what about it's the Roma woman, who's fighting for their children? Because I'm myself, because I'm a Kurdish, it could have been a Kurdish woman too, but I had the feeling it's not the right thing to do. I don't know why, but anyway, so it ended up to being a Roma mother. And actually, when I had that idea a couple of weeks later, I saw a Roma mother who had her own child on her hand. They were crossing the streets, and one taxi driver almost hit her. And I saw the fire in her eyes, protecting her child, and almost beating up this taxi driver. I knew I have to make this movie. So that's how it started. And it took me, 5 years to write it. But the big pleasure was after 3 years of writing, I met Alina, who, because we started really, really, really early with the casting. And after she was in that movie, it was for me more pleasure and easier to write, because she was like giving me her experience and always like she was telling us what from her Roma view, what we can put in or what is not really inside there. So it was really helping me with that part.
So you're still working on the screenplay and you meet Alina. And
yes. Because the thing was, we didn't know what kind of woman we're going to find, if she has to make a lot of sports or if she's going to be boxer. So we was calculating 1 to 2 years of training for that. And but we started with the actresses. We've been casting. I don't know that age we needed between middle of 20 and middle of 30. I don't know, maybe 10, 12 Roma actresses all around Europe. And Alina was actually the first one I saw. And then there come a couple more, but we knew, and we've been talking like we stopped casting because she's the one. And let's try to get her like in shape for the boxing part. And she has more time to get in shape and to train. And instead of, we look for more women because she was the one. And sometimes you feel the energy, because she came to Vienna and we casted 3 days. We made not only acting, but one day she was with a European champion of box training. And he was laughing at me because I told him Alina never boxed and she has to look how good she is. And she was laughing and saying, you're lying to me. She's a boxer. She boxed before. So yeah, it fit all together. Sometimes it's like that.
Well, yeah, you would have fooled me. I it seemed like she had some kind of experience. But Alina, let me turn to you. So, I mean, this is an incredibly complex character who seems to, she can't, get a fair shake. Every turn every corner she turns, it's another obstacle. And as Hüseyin said, you are a Roma, and so from that perspective, obviously this is a personal film, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. Could you talk about your personal experience and kind of how you brought that to bear on this character? Was it too close to home? Was there a level of distance? Yeah.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you everybody for having us. It's so great to finally talk about our work. We missed this. We really missed this. And to be honest with you, I never been interviewed by a box person that knows box. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like somebody from the knowing box will interview us. So and moderate this. I'm very curious what you think about the level of the boxing. But I'm glad we could fool you. It was the thing is, there were many things that I think it was something of a destiny inside of this meeting. I think on many levels, I was waiting for this chance. As a Roma being brought up in Romania, I've lacked, I missed, I needed to see myself in stories. All I've seen in the media, in cinema, were stories that were making me feel even worse as a Roma. Not only that the society is anyway very discriminated against us, and as you probably know, Roma people are the most discriminated ethnicity in Europe, and it's still normal to be discriminated, to be racist towards us. It's still normal even nowadays. And when I read first the first screenplay, I found my mom there. I found my mother on each page, because she's such a fighter. She might not fight with gloves, but man, this woman is short, but for her children, there is nothing physical or spiritual that she cannot do. So it's, and I even think that even as Ali in the film, my mom as well, and I think many moms in the world, even if physical, they are not with us, they're still fighting for us. And I think my mom is that kind of an energy. And I myself, been through a lot of poverty. I know what it is not to have, what's like to be evacuated. Some years in my life, I didn't have my mom around because of an accident, and I had to be in the childcare system. So it was a lot of loneliness and striving for a future that sometimes really looked dim. Because exactly as Ali, most of the times I've seen the game being rigged, the game of the life, I mean, that society puts for you. But I still had to continue because my mom, even from being in prison, she would write me letters. She would still be my strength. And then meeting Hüseyin, I just felt that it was for me. I just felt it. I don't know how to explain. But in the same time, and also regards to the sportive part, to the sports part, I have to say that I have never ever done boxing before. This is true, never. But indeed, when I was little, I trained a bit some karate, and I had these moves in my body in a way. And then after a while, I was living in London when I actually met Hüseyin. I was studying there. And I found a feeling of home in the Capoeira Society. London felt very lonely for me and individualist. Sorry, London. Okay. And and I found a home there at this in this group of Capoeira. So I was training Capoeira when I met Hüseyin and the story. And when they brought me to Vienna and I met that European champion, I was telling him, look, I have to be honest, I don't know any German or any boxing, but I know the story is for me. And I just did Capoeira. But some of the moves, something felt familiar. I think thanks to Capoeira, but not the actual punching, because in Capoeira we do not punch people. Yeah, it was, I don't know, I don't even know how I made it happen. I think it was some destiny as well there that really helped.
Can you describe capoeira? Can you describe what that is?
Yes, it's African Brazilian martial art. It comes from Africa. It was developed by the slaves brought to Brazil, and it's a form of martial art that very seldom. It depends on where you play it. It involves really contact Like more often, we will not really fight. So that's why boxing was very far for me to really punch someone, to be punched. It was a completely different world. But let's say I was in the very large world of martial arts, let's say, to understand physicality, to understand space, to understand bodies in action, maybe capoeira. And I think it was the fact that I also had to do many tests for the production to be sure I am able physically to bear the effort. And again, thanks God, I think it was still capoeira who helped me, because I remember they took me to this doctor and to check the bones and stuff like that. And they were asking me to do some moves that we were doing in capoeira, like the African chair, to sit very close to the floor and bend your knees. I was like, we do this at capoeira. So it was some of the things felt weirdly easy. And then obviously the difficulty started when I really got the role, because maybe Hüseyin didn't say, but they grilled me many months. They grilled my soul. I didn't know I got the role. For many months, I took several castings. And when finally I got the role, I was like, oh my God, how do we do this? How do we make this happen? Because as you probably know, Hüseyin wanted us to do that last scene that is without a cut, and Hüseyin, yes, it's a one-shot scene of boxing, and it felt impossible. There were times where it felt impossible, but I made a promise to Hüseyin and to myself that, in respect to our families, to our moms, to our ancestors, I will not give up. I said to Hüseyin, I do not know, my brother, if I really can do it, because obviously I've never done it before, and nobody in the team, nobody had an experience like this around us to do this type of to have this knowledge and experience. So we were so, I would say, at the beginning of a weird adventure, where all the team said, okay, let's do this scene. And I said to Hüseyin that, and many people were telling us, this is impossible, you're crazy. Many knowledgeable, let's say, people said, no, it's not possible. So in these troubling times we had, I just said, I promise you, I will not give up. I cannot promise you I can do it, because I do not know this, but I promise you I will not give up. And I think to the last moment, even in the day when we had to shoot that scene, I think I kept my promise, and I was able to do it over and over again. But they said we cannot continue, because there are people, they have to leave and stuff. So I was yes, a workaholic, but it was a true honor, a true honor to tell this story.
So you brought up the ending, and I definitely wanted to get to that. So we may as well talk about it. Yeah, I mean,
Hey, Sean, I want to know your opinion. I mean, it's not every day I get to speak to a person like you.
Well, I was. Are you talking about your fighting ability, or?
What was it for you to see this film? How was it for you? From a boxing point of view, did you believe us?
Did I believe you? Absolutely. I mean, I think you sold it. Jessica, your technique was pretty flawless, and I was thinking to myself, you have a boxing background, entirely possible, like your character. But But you know that final sequence, which is unbroken, as you said, I suspect there might have been invisible cuts, but that's not the case. So can you talk about was it just one day, and how many times did you how many takes did you have to get it right?
Well, it was it was from the beginning. It was the idea of making the last scene one shot, not because we want to make something special in artistic way, but for me it was very important to show how hard boxing is. I was in the States in high school, and I was wrestling, and I knew I had that time 3 times 2 minutes of wrestling, and after those 6 minutes I was dead. And I don't want to know how it feels like when if you're a real boxer and standing 3 minutes around and all your body is under so much energy and stuff. So I wanted to show, the thing was, I want to show in the boxing ring, this woman, even it's really hard and brutal, it's for her not that hard like being in the normal life, struggling with her kids. So this boxing thing needs to be like looking brutal and hard, but on the other side, she's like flowing and doing her thing. And she knows the rules. There are rules, and she knows how to get along with that. But outside, it's not like that. So I didn't want to make like an action scene of the boxing. I want to show very authentic. So that was from the beginning, the first draft I was writing, it was like that. But I didn't know, actually, because it was the first time I made something like that with a team. It takes that so much logistical things, we had to, of course, there was a kind of a choreography, and not only for the both fighters, but for the camera, for the sound, for everyone for everyone, for the people in the corner and stuff. So, and the big problem was actually, Alina was really, really fit in the first shooting day, but we weren't allowed to make it in the first shooting day because the percentage she could be injured was very high, and the insurance didn't want us to do it. They wanted us to shoot the whole movie. At the end, it doesn't matter what happens, kind of like that. So Alina brought herself really in really good shape, and then she had to shoot 8 weeks this movie as an actress because there was so many other scenes with having to do something with boxing. So for her, it was really, really hard. You can tell later on, but for us, for the production, and for me as a director, it was hard to we had to make an organization where she can still train. She had to train and stay in shape on the one side, but on the other side, she's in every little scene of this movie. There's no scene without her. So and even the choreography we had, because we couldn't make like shooting till the last, and we had only 1 day for that. Even they're coming to the stadium, to the club, there was the same day. So the half day was going inside, and the second half day was like shooting the fighting scene. So because we didn't have that money. Anyway, so we couldn't make a break of 4 weeks or 6 weeks to shooting that because it was too expensive. I think we had 4 days of resting, or 3 days. I don't remember now. So and she was doing, and her coach was actually her co-star of the fight. She was Maria Lindberg. She's really a professional boxer, and she took over her. She had some other coach, but before the shooting, because they connected so good. So that was really good for me too, because I let them do. I gave them only for every round, I gave them something like a short story, throw off 3-4 lines, and then they made, you girls, you are going to do it, but because of the dramatical thing, this has to happen, and how which punches and which corner, I don't care. You do as you want to. So that was the deal, and I think we made rehearsals that I think 4 or 5 days with the whole team, but both girls, they was meeting, outside part and apartments. They was doing all the moves again and again and again, But yeah, and to the end. We did it 7 times. We shot it 7 times. 2 of the 7 I broke up because there was already something in the first round or somewhere which didn't fit. So I didn't want them to do more because it was already ruined. Like I think one time the cameraman was hit one of the actresses, and the other time I think there was a misunderstanding. And actually, at the end, I didn't take the most brutal take because that was the last one. Because the last take, Sean, you could feel the girls knew we don't have any time anymore, and they said, "Come on, fuck it, we are going to punch us, and it doesn't matter." And it was like we all was, oh man, this now really they're going for all, and because I knew I had already my take, because I wanted the most emotional take, and not, and but the girls been so, they have so much energy. Both were dead, but they knew they was preparing for that day so long. And then I said to Alina, we're done, we got it. And but let's do, because she was the last take was so brutal, and she knew now. Okay, I want to take it really harder and harder, and I had to stop her. So, anyways, we had the take, and I think it was the 4th take or 5th take of those 7, and then we didn't need. Of course, we've been thinking, what if there's a mistake? We have to cut. We could have done it. But at the end, we had really clean take. We just put music on. We didn't even make it faster or slower. There's only at the end we put music and some sounding, so the gloves are hitting are harder. But that's it.
I always think, when they talk about the boxing film, the training aspect is always interesting. I always remember Clint Eastwood, I think, asking Hilary Swank in $1 Million Baby to put on 10 pounds. And if you're doing boxing, you're losing weight. You really can't gain weight. But he asked her to do that, and then she had to drink like 8 to 12 egg whites a day. Alina, did you have to go through something like that? Can you describe the process?
No, I would just say, it was very complicated because, as Hüseyin said, I was training intensely boxing, like sometimes like even two trainings a day before we started shooting the film, and then I was already like more than 8 hours, is 12 hours, I don't know, at the shooting day every day, being the main character, and then in the weekends I would train. So Maria would come, would fly to where I was in Vienna, and we would train. And there were times when I swear, like, tears were just coming on my cheeks because of tiredness. And even she and her trainer would see me, and they were like, let's have a rest today. Just let's talk. And I was like, nah. We will train, guys. Even though I'm crying, we will do it. And I think it's genetics with me. I grow muscle very fast. I'm not deserving it. I think it's just genetics. But like I pump very fast, and there were many boys in Maria's gym, where their students. Maria is training many males in boxing, and they were very jealous of my triceps, and I didn't know how they appeared. I was like, please take them off. And so it was really mainly I was trying to eat healthy, as Maria was telling me, but not really doing anything that would not be necessary, because I was already doing the film, so I had to keep on the energy. And then really when doing the choreo for the last scene, it was exactly how Hüseyin said. He sent us a story. And I was looking at Maria, and we both started to design something. And obviously we didn't know how to move. It's like, will be the how big will be the ring, and so problems started to occur as we started to do this. And then I am not good with really any choreo. Even when I'm an actress and I've done some like dancing stuff, and I was really bad at this. But just imagine remembering a language you never done before as boxing. so it was very hard, but in the same time sweet, because everybody was putting their whole heart into it. Maria had in the same time other box matches, and she came with a broken nose, and she had this Hannibal Lecter type of a mask.
I
At one
forgot
point,
that.
because she was so fragile. At one point, without wanting, in one of the rehearsals, she had some blood because of me. And when I saw I'm capable of that, I was just like, I wanted to throw up. I didn't want to really cause nobody pain like that. And it was just like, and she was looking at me and saying, "Do you remember I'm a boxer, right?" And um, and also like everybody around me, like the majority of who you were seeing, they were real boxers. And one of the people in my corner is maybe Hussein, can you help me say
The
his
cutter?
name right? No. I mean
Alex?
the one who fought Ali.
Jürgen Tanne. Also,
Yeah,
Jürgen, yeah.
Jürgen Blin.
Jürgen, yeah, he was
Yeah.
fighting Muhammad Ali in the 70s.
Yes. So to
Yeah.
have the honor to meet a boxer that fought Ali was for me incredible. Really was incredible.
Yeah,
And
when he always came, everybody was like, wow. And, when we're doing boxing scenes and training, it was a different atmosphere when he was in the room.
How did you? Yeah, I mean Jurgen Blin, who really did fight Muhammad Ali. How did you?
Mhm.
How did he come? How did he become involved in the film?
Yeah, I was, during my research, I was looking for boxers, what kind of way they did after, because for the second leading role of the Tanne, the guy who's in the bar, I was looking for ways boxers went in Germany, and then he was the one who had the bar too, under a bridge, like, close to the main station. He made it, I think, 20, 30 years. And and there was a little documentary on YouTube about him, like 10, 15 minutes. And I know, well, he's not the actor, but I wanted him be like the right hand of Tanne. And on the other side, I know when those kinds of people are on the set, there's a different concentration, and because all the others know, they might look and tell, and he was giving us advices, and even like when I was working with Alina, it makes a different feeling for. So just only the scene when he getting the tape on your hand, and he really did it very very concentrated, and the way he was talking to her, he's almost whispering. Maybe an actor would like speaking it loud, and I didn't say anything, but he knows that the boxer is now concentrating, and the boxer is on a different level of and I didn't have to tell him how to act. He was like himself.
Yeah, I have a really random Jurgen Blin story, and it's kind of similar to the character in the film. I mean, there was a gym I used to go to about a couple of years ago in New York City, and I think there might have been a press conference for some upcoming fight, and Thomas Hauser, the biographer of Muhammad Ali, comes to me, taps me, he's like, "You know who that is over there?" And then he's like, that's Jurgen Blin. He fought Muhammad Ali in 1972. You should go introduce yourself. So I went up, I took a selfie. I can't find a selfie anymore, but I thought that was strange that he.
Yeah, and he fought him for 7 rounds, if I remember well.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was hard. The fight is on YouTube. If you watch it, man, that he got so many hits by Ali, and he always get up again and they got up, and I think he was really 3 or 4 times on the floor, but his face was really like, I don't know, but he didn't give up. He's really a tough guy.
Well, he certainly lends a certain gravitas and legitimacy, I think, to those boxing scenes. So kudos to you. I kind of want to shift gears. I guess I want to talk about the title of the film, and through that maybe talk about kind of the bigger themes that pop up. But Gypsy Queen, the term gypsy, in my understanding, is that it is a slur. But here it's being used proudly in an honorific sense, and just to bring some contemporary context here, I mean, the current heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, who is a Irish traveler, calls himself the Gypsy King. That's his moniker. So, and there's that one scene which I think is really, illustrative of a lot of things, but your promoter comes up to you, Alina, and he's got certain ideas and he has certain stereotypes, and I think he says, you're a gypsy, right? And you respond back, no, I'm a Roma. I was wondering if you guys can, especially with our audience here, describe kind of the cultural context of that term and how you're using it and how you're kind of redefining it.
Should I start or?
Yeah, you can start. Yeah, I can talk about the movie.
Yeah. I would say that. So I, as a Roma person, this is the name of my ethnicity. We are ethnical group coming from India. We call ourselves Roma even before the Roma people reach Europe. Even though the term is very similar to Romanian sometimes, so it might confuse people from Romanian and Roma, and Romanians do not want us be linked to them. Many times the race is Romanians, not everybody, but it's just a coincidence. Roma means human in our language, and as I said, we were calling ourselves Roma way before Romania was formed as a country, and we were kept slaves in Romania for more than 500 years. This is another taboo subject. Hopefully I will make a feature film about this, and we'll talk about this, Sean, but we will not have boxing here, but hopefully we will still talk about it. Obviously we talked about this with Hüseyin, that gypsy is a slur, is a racial slur that some people use without knowing who are the Roma people. It came from a mistake. They thought we are Egyptians, and from Egyptians, I think the term gypsy was formed. Definitely is such an insult when you connect it to the verb I got gypped. And I do not, I'm not comfortable with that name being addressed by a non-Roma. If a Roma can call themselves even, I don't know, mushroom. If they can call themselves mushroom, they can call themselves mushroom if they want. Not a non-Roma person. In the film, I very much enjoyed the fact that Hüseyin gave me the creative part of putting my ethnicity in the center of the script, and I was listened to. And this film has a Roma narrative. It's not. It's really. It has a Roma narrative, and that's why I'm so proud that a Kurdish man and a Roma person linked to tell a story like this. And I would say that even if we and in the film you have small let's say flashlights about how I present myself to the world, which is Roma, and the fact that in the world you might need to play their fight, their game, but in the ring we play our game. And indeed, even as a Roma person, I would say that even in my shows, I'm an actress director as well, I would bring people with the gypsy stereotype of, oh, what would you see, something exotic, come, and then I will bring you the whole story. If I will tell you I'm the Tagarnio Romenghe, which would be in Roma, you will be like, huh? Say what? So sometimes you need to use exactly the term that is negative and give it the positive and the Roma side to it. And I will leave the floor to Hüseyin now.
It's it was, I have to really say, it was first my vision, and then it really became our vision, because Alina and us started really work very, very close to each other. I was writing this, and it was really from the production. I wasn't the producer of that movie, but it was let us really do what you want. So I wrote the screenplay, I sent it to her, she read it and give me her feedback and put it in, and she sent me pictures. I was visiting her family and stuff. It was really close working. So what I'm saying is, because I really want to make an authentic movie. First of all, this movie is not about the Roma, it's about the mother. This woman could have been Japanese, Australian, doesn't matter. And then in second term, it's a Roma, and then third term, she's an immigrant, blah blah blah. So, and because the term of she's being a mother, and she's fighting for her kids. And she's like, this movie is not about a woman like a $1 million baby, where the woman, she wants to be a boxer, she wants to make that million and famous and the best in her sports. That woman, if that would be a Roma, she wouldn't call her Gypsy Queen, she would call her, I don't know, Roma Queen or something like that. But in our story, to stay realistic, and this is how world she is. She is just try to stay alive with her kids, and then the fact that this promoter using her, and she has no other chance, and because it's not like heroic, and then she's a Roma Queen, and then she gets a championship or something like that, and she's working all the movie for that. It's about this is like, I really try to stay authentic, even in the title of the movie, because it would be like, I don't know, like how you say, kind of a movement or something like that. But we want really to tell a movie about a mother without being like, I don't know, putting different hopes in the movie and in the title and stuff. And so of course we put little things in the story, how this mother sees herself too. But more important was for me the authentic art, and in the world we're living in, it is like that. The promoters telling her, you're the Gypsy Queen, and now the Gypsy Queen is going to fight against her, and not, and it wouldn't be Ali's character when she say, no, one moment I'm the Roma Queen when I go in the ring, because she wouldn't have that option. So it's about having options or not, and I'm pretty sure another movie, without being a mother, a young female boxer who's really proud of her Roma heritage, would call it would be a different movie, and it would be a different title.
And I will also add to this that I am very proud and honored that we with the help and the facilitation of Hüseyin, because I asked him what language should we use, because Roma language is a very complex language, and there are many dialects, and I was very, very glad to promote and preserve the dialect of my father's family side, because it's a very special dialect I'm speaking in the film, and unfortunately not many Roma people are speaking this dialect any longer. We do promote our language in the universities and all, but not this particular dialect. And it was my chance to preserve and honor Roma culture. And in Roma, we will never call ourselves Gypsy or Țigan or all that. I will always say I'm Romni. Mesem Romni. And all in all, I think the beauty of this film is the fact that it relies in the universal in the fact that it's so universal that even a mom that does not have any connection with box whatsoever or sports, yeah, she would find herself in the struggle of this woman, and it can be apparent. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. And on the opposite, I really hoped, and I'm so glad to give to my community this film, a film that we so needed, a film that finally gives us a bit of healing, I would say, and the chance to see ourselves on the screen and to be reflected in what's happening. So I got so many messages, and even now on the 16th of May, when we celebrate the resistance of Roma people in Auschwitz, they projected the Gypsy Queen as a film of resistance, and I think this is it. It's a complex story that it's feeding a spiritual hunger that we had, and a need that we had.
Fantastic. I think I need to wrap this up, but very quickly, I wanted to ask you guys what else you're working on, if you have anything else in the pipeline that you want to share. Hüseyin, want to go?
Well, I'm always working. I'm writing I'm working on 3 or 4 screenplays at the same time, and I'm working on a movie which is called The Last German, which is about a 89 years old man, one of the last of his generation who really fought in the Second World War and living now 2020 in Berlin and falling in love again. And on the same time writing series and something like that. Always working on something.
Good stuff. Alina?
I myself too. I'm working on many things, and I'm glad to have Hüseyin as a mentor. I'm starting to direct as well, and I did my 2 short films now that he knows, and finally I finished the sound for my second one. Hüseyin, I will send it to you. And I am making small steps to tell stories in features, I hope. And I'm just trying to put my energy in the world so I can produce any small change I can, through film, through theater, visual arts, even to comic books. I've done a comic book as in the pandemic. Yes, it's called Home, if you want to see it. Yes.
I was going to say I could talk to you guys all day and I have so many more questions about the film and how it reflects on German society today, but perhaps in a post-pandemic period we can continue that.
Yeah. And if people have questions, Alina and me, we have social media sites. We are both always free of answering them if it's about our movie. So please write us. Or Alina, same.
No, in regards to the movie, please.
Yeah, in regards of the movie. Yeah.
Yes. You can find me on Instagram and as well as Hüseyin as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for the organization, and and I hope the people enjoy watching our film.